Good morning! So for some of you this is the first day of the holidays officially. Others have actually probably already been on holiday and come back with the way that England works, and it will be a bit different. For me it's the first day, so hence I'm now hiding out in the bedroom because one kid's in the kitchen, the other one's taken the lounge, and I've lost all areas. Today, welcome to the Mummy Whisperers free online course on how to enjoy the holidays more. You know, how to cope with the stress and struggle and juggles and so on. Today is day 5. It is that dreaded subject of money. You know, it's no good for us to get all the way through the summer holidays and end up in like horrific amounts of debt, which is so easy to do, especially when you've got more than one kid and therefore you're trying to make sure that everything's balanced and you're spending the same amount on each one, and I mean, even ice creams can add up, can't they? So I have some tips here for you, and I've been thinking about how, you know, I'm going to get through. One thing is to try not to get hung up too much on how much comes in. Obviously, how much comes in is massive. But you know what? How much is left over at the end of the month? Just because you have less coming in than somebody else in who you know of, doesn't mean that you're going to have less at the end of the month than that person. I mean, let's face it, there have been some big celebrities in the news recently who earn a ridiculous amount of money and have got like virtually nothing left. So it's a really good way to just switch off that panic in your head, because actually it's down to how much you value money and how much you look after it that can make a real big difference. And the other really good thing is, I know that we get mummy guilt and we worry about what we can't afford for the kids and so on. But kids are, thank the Lord, even with all of the pressures of social media and all the rest of it, they are still actually more in tune to that like basic joy that can come from really simple things. So I mean, yesterday actually proved that for me. Yesterday was a major day. It was my son's last day at primary school, and loads of us, I live in a quite a big village, a load of us just descended on a pub that's got like a river in it, and it was absolutely fabulous. Lots of quite emotional stress mums just picnicking and sitting around and gossiping and having a glass of wine, and kids muddy and wet and dirty, a few arguments, all got sorted out, lots and lots of different ages. It was really simple fun. And my daughter Willow was like, "Oh mummy, please can we go back? I want to go back tomorrow, I want to do this again." It was just brilliant, and that's really nice to see. So that is something for us to remember sometimes. So I've got some tips. Step 1, because when we get all worried about money, we can't think straight about it, and when it comes to money you really have to think straight so we don't get into more trouble, basically. So step 1 is to be grateful for what you've got, because that kind of calms things and it brings it down. So, you know, I think we have to face facts when we look around the world. We're actually really lucky. Most of us, I know that there are some people still in England who are in terrible situations, but the majority of us are relatively secure. We have got some form of like house that we're living in. You know, there are buses to get to and from places. It's not always perfect, but you know, we do have stuff. We do have you know, most of us have food in our cupboards, or food banks that can support us. You know, we're not in some of those countries where there's just nothing and we're starving and eating grass and stuff like that. So trying to be grateful for what we've got is really important. I know that's really difficult if you've got a lot of debt and you're worried about how you're going to get through the summer. But it is important, because that way you're not going to get yourself into worse trouble. Sticking our heads in the sand just makes it so much worse. If you do have any really big problems with money, then I actually really recommend my book. In that I go through much more in depth how to get out of debt, how to manage your money, how to create a budget, how to sort things out, how to change your money mindset so that you can maybe earn more money or bring more money in or have more money left over at the end of the month, because you know, we all deserve to be in that kind of situation, and money can be so stressful and it can be so damaging for a couple as well. You know, trying to juggle the money and being worried about it. Now, even if you haven't got a really good budget, you probably do have clarity on kind of how much you tend to have left over. You know you're not paying for the school meals. You know kind of what you're not doing. So you do. Now, what I would suggest is that therefore you think about that and you think, right, I'm going to split that in pots for each kid, and your partner or whoever, so that it's fairly split. So it's not more to one because they're older, it's not more to the kids than you, because that's actually not really very fair on you, but it's also not more to one partner than another partner, or more to one partner and then there's not enough left for the children. So do you know what I mean? So get an idea. You don't have to get it completely right, just get an idea as to how much that would be, and think about that so that you can keep that number in your head when you're trying to get through the week. I know you want to do things for your kids. Don't get yourself massively into debt. Yes, okay, you might put some stuff on the credit cards, you might maybe borrow a bit of money, but you want to aim in your head to make sure that all of that can be paid off by like the end of September, the beginning of October. Don't go into debt further than that. You've got Christmas coming up after that. I'm not being funny. Nothing is worth being in debt for a whole season for. And so if you're going to be in debt more than 3 months, that's the whole season. You can't be doing that. If you don't have it, don't do it. Really harsh. I know that there are lots of things that means that we can't do. But honestly, it's not worth the stress. So when you're trying to work out what are you going to do and you're making some choices, you think about is it really worth it? Think back to day one. What is it you really, really wanted to achieve? Now, luckily for me, all I really want is lots of photos and lots of memories, and I can do that without actually costing a fortune. My biggest cost is going to be childcare. And trying to juggle that, or how much that costs. So I'm kind of playing with ideas as to how to do that one. And the other thing I've done, this is actually going to cost me quite a lot of money, but it's probably the only way I'm going to survive the juggle and the childcare and everything else, is I've got, and I'll share a picture later on, I've got a board in my kitchen, and it's for the kids to earn money. So we were talking about delegating. This is going to cost me a bit, but it's going to be worth it in the end because it's going to save me so much headspace. So the kids will earn money from doing chores, and then that's the money that they can then spend during the week. So whereas actually their money normally goes into an account and they have to save a certain amount, this will actually be do chores and spend it kind of money. It's so that they actually know that what they're working towards, if they want games and so on. And I have done one thing for both of them. It wasn't really expensive, but I have bought them both what I've called a holiday toy, something that they can play with, that they can go out with. I mean, Max has bought a cricket bat set, so that's something that they know when they're looking for something to do. So it was like a summer holiday toy, basically. So just to remind you, if you're catching up on this course, do the days in order. It makes much more sense. So go back to day one, because you need to get your mindset right, and you need to get your head in the right place, and you need to know what your priorities are before you can do the rest of the days. So day one was all about the mindset. Day two is all about your time, so that you can then have some more time, so that in day three you can sort out giving yourself some more energy, so that in day four you've got enough energy. Hopefully, maybe this weekend, I'm tackling this weekend. You'll have seen my pictures in the Facebook group this morning. I'm tackling some areas of chaos in my house this weekend, so that the house works a little bit better. And then day 5 is money. Tomorrow we're going to finish off with day 6, which is all about making sure you don't forget about yourself, making sure there's sparkle, making sure there's fun, making sure there's memories and all that sort of stuff. And actually I've thought of a couple of extra kind of bonuses I may pop in a little bit over the next week. I've got some bonuses on like stress reduction, ways of handling the stress, ways of kind of coming down, ways of hitting that reset button when you get really overwhelmed. Oh, one other tip. One of the biggest expenses is the kids wanting to buy stuff. So that's why mine are going to be earning some money, and that's what they're going to spend. But don't forget, if you're prepared, it's going to be a lot easier. So that's why I'm going to also start to do some batch cooking. I'm going to try and encourage the kids to do some baking. I'm not a very good baker. I think Max is better than me at that. I'm going to make homemade ice lollies, because that's one of those things when the ice ice cream van comes round. It costs a blinking fortune. And I'm going to make sure that I've got ice creams in the freezer. When we go on holiday, we're just going for a nice, lovely, simple place in Cornwall. But again, that's one of the big expenses. So I'll just pop to the shop, make sure there's some stuff. I can buy them some stuff as well, some treats. But you know, it just builds up if you're buying fizzy drinks and crisps and ice creams and stuff. That's one of the biggest expenses, I think. And I think it's one of the biggest ways that they can guilt us into spending money as well. Right then. So that's that for today. If you have any questions, don't forget, you're really welcome to pop them in the Facebook group. Or if you're nervous because it's about money, just send me a message. It's absolutely fine. Good luck, and I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow it's Sunday, isn't it? Yeah, it might not be 10 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning. I might be a bit later tomorrow for my Facebook Live. I'll have a think and I'll let you know. Take care, everyone. Bye.